has to sacrifice. That compositions are characterized by the complexity in which certain links are suppressed. Means, according to the I. Richards, compositions are made out of certain sacrifices. Means the writer has to subdue certain way of thinking, certain way of presentation, and on the basis of that, writer has to achieve what he wants to achieve through the work of art, and that is that makes the text contextualize, and that contextualization makes the work of art more significant. Now, significance of the context too. Sense of feeling have a mutual dependence. Now let us move towards the sense and feeling, as we could see in the earlier dimension, that sense and feelings are also the two significant aspects of analyzing the text according to the words. Now both of them, as you can see, to understand the words, sense and feeling both are interwoven, have mutual dependence. I quote what I. Richard says: the sound of a word has much to do with the feeling it evokes. I unquote. That sound also a kind of having so much importance in the making the feeling of the word and what you want to evoke out of the word. According to him, that even the sound of work of art, say for example, if someone says good and if someone says good, means the sound itself also makes a kind of significance for the word of art, and it evokes the feelings as well. The feeling may arise from meaning and be governed by it. Now here, according to the Richard says that feeling is also arise from the meaning and may be governed by it. Means meaning also governs the feeling. What do you want to say also governs the feeling. Feeling is ruled by the meaning. What it means rules the feeling, what you need to feel. Then at the same time, the meaning arises from the feeling evoked. Now if you have been given the good news, then the meaning would be good, or if you have been given the bad news, the feeling would be bad. Means meaning also arises from the feeling that has been evoked. Sense and feeling in that sense mutually interrelated to each other. A complete poem influences a single word or phrase contained in either through the feeling or through the sense. A significant poem or the important poem has the balancing way between the feeling and the meaning or sense that it wants to provoke. Hence according to the Richard, we need one careful reading to find the meaning and the another grasp of feeling. Means along with the meaning, we need to have a feeling as well. What would be the feeling of the word is also necessary, is also the significant if we talk about the feeling or achievement of the feeling. Means sense and feeling are mutually interdependent to both. And with the example of the poem by the Shelley, one can say that in the West Wind he says, the trumpet of the prophecy of wind, if winter comes, can spring be far behind. Means the sense is that everything has been destroyed by the west wind, but if the meaning or the feeling is positive, that he puts the question mark at the end, if winter comes, can spring be far behind. Means if negative things are happening, but can the good things far behind? If night comes, can there would be a morning far behind than the night? If it obviously going to come if there is a night. Means the feeling also makes the meaning. Means feeling of positivity, feeling of what we can say the winning combination of the words also gives the reader a kind of positivity of their thinking. Means most of our prayers in the morning that we do are also having their meaning attached with the sense of Vijugisu Vritti, or you can say the meaning of, or what we can, the sense of being good. Means none of the prayer in the morning you would find which is having the negative meaning. Similarly, the sense and the meaning of the poetry or the work of art are intertwined with each other, are dependent, are mutually understood, to bound to each other in that way of art. Now let us move one step further, the meter and the rhyme. Students, in your literary glossary, you must have gone through what is the meaning of meter and the rhyme. Meter is not the meter which is measuring your electricity or your speedometer. Here meter is something called a kind of rhythm, and what arranges the rhythm is called the meter. Rhythm results from the repetition of a particular sound. Say for example, as we had seen earlier, the twinkle twinkle little star. Similarly, in your school days you must have studied the Tiger by the William Blake. Tiger, tiger, burning bright in the forest of the night, what immortal hands or eye could frame thy fearful symmetry. Now you can say burning bright and night are rhyming with each other. It's a repetition of a kind of particular sound. It's rhyming with each other. Even in your popular Hindi songs, you can find out the rhythms that makes your songs more beautiful, or you can say voluptuous to be listened day by day, every day. And at the same time, the arrangement of that rhythm called meter is specialized form of rhythm, and it is rhythm made more regular and cast into the set and well formed pattern. Both rhythm and meter are organic and integral part of the poem. Now students, you must be remembering most of the school day rhymes, if we can remember even till the day, the reason is that they are rhymed. Rhymed in the particular pattern in the case of meters, whether it is the blank verse or you can say iambic pentameter, tetrameter, whatever it may be, it gives you a kind of system to remember. And most of our Sanskrit sloks, if we can say, been remembered only because of the rhyming and the meter scheme that have been employed in the composition of that particular work of art. Now what is the significance of having meter and the rhyme in the case of work of literature? They both determine the meaning of the words used by the poets. Now it enhances the interpretation, or what we can say the meaning of work of art. Say for example, as I have taken William Blake's Tiger poem over here. Students, pardon for this rough copy, but this is a kind of manuscript by William Blake, one of the most famous poet of the neoclassic age, or you can say the precursors of romantic age. In this manuscript, he was a painter as well. You can see that he not only painted the tiger but also written the poem, the wonderful, or what we can say one of the masterpiece of the English literature. Tiger, tiger, in burning bright in the forest of the night, what immortal hands or eye could frame thy fearful symmetry. You can see the bright and night, the first two lines and the ending of first two lines are rhyming with each other. Now the end of the end of the last two lines, I and symmetry, are rhyming with each other. Similarly, the entire poem, if you can see till the last stanza, tiger, tiger, burning bright in the forest of the night, what immortal hands or eye dare frame thy fearful symmetry. Now the could and dare are changing over here. Now you can see that why this pattern has been employed by the poet. Now if we go by the metrical composition, it rhymes like AB, 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 BC, 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 BB, CC, and like this, AA, BB, BB, CC. Now why this pattern or the meter or the rhyming pattern has been employed by the poet? Number one, to make it sound good. Number two, to make it a rhythmical flow of words. Now with this rhythm of the flow, one can see that tiger, tiger, burning bright, there is a kind of pause in between the lines, and that pause also gives you the pause to think about that what the poet is talking about, whether he is talking about the industrialization of the Europe, whether he is talking about the tiger in the form of the laborer into the factories, whether he is talking about the tiger in the form of the poor man of Britain who was on the verge of revolt, or the French people who, in the revolt against the Louis XVI, took the weapon in their hands, and that brightness of their eyes could dazzle the entire world in the form of French Revolution. Now, all these questions are brought forward by one such poem, and that rhyming and meter impacts the kind of meaning that is necessary to be dragged out from the particular rhythmic metrical pattern employed by the poet. Now, let us move one step further, the significance of the metaphor. Students, this is also one of the significant aspects that I. Richards has manipulated or emphasized in his works of criticism. What is metaphor? Let us discuss about it. When we need metaphor, or where we use metaphor as the work of literature. Metaphor is a shift, a carrying over of the word from its normal use to a new use. We would like to see the kind of general metaphor that we use in day-to-day life. First is the curtain of night. Generally we use the metaphor, the curtain of the night means day after of toiling work we need a rest. There would be a curtain of the night, and that gives the end to the day, the darkness of the night. And in the Shakespeare's terminology, his wonderful metaphor that we should not forget as students of literature, he says the whole world is a stage. The stage is what we know, that we all has to play our role, as Hamlet has rightly said. Now, why the whole world becomes the stage? The metaphor of stage contains the harsh reality of the existing world and the scaring over of the word from its normal use to make the whole world as the kind of performance of the drama. Now, according to the Richards, there are two types of metaphors: sense metaphor and emotive metaphors. We shall look towards the possible examples in the time to come in the next slide. According to the I. Richards, I quote, "Metaphor is the semi-surreptitious method by which a greater variety of elements can be brought into the fabric of experience." I unquote. Means it is semi-surreptitious method, a kind of, you can say the kind of stealth of bringing out the word from one particular usual, usage, and which a greater with a greater variety of element can be brought into the fabric of experience. Means metaphor gives a kind of fabric in which the same word is getting changed. Meaning arises from the interrelation between the sense, tone, feeling and intention. Now, how the metaphorical meaning changes. Say for example, what I. Richards is the sense, tone, meaning and intention. You can see on that all of them, that curtain of the night or the world is a stage, are changing according to the feeling, sense, tone and the intention of the writer, why he is using the metaphor. Now let us move towards the new criticism, the last stage of our study, that is poetic truth is different from the scientific truth according to the I. Richards. It is a matter of emotion belief rather than intellectual belief according to the I. Richards. It is a kind of different kind of emotional reaction or validification. If a scientist wants to, if somebody wants to say that I want to prove the poetic truth wrong, then we need to go back to the Aristotle and Plato, where Aristotle rejected his teacher Plato by telling that poet is concerned with what it should be, not with what it is. In the new criticism after World War One, Anglo-American literary critical theory, it insisted upon the intrinsic value of a work of art and focused upon the attention on the individual work alone as an independent unit of meaning. It was opposed to the critical practice of the earlier class of historical or biographical details, and it basically focus upon the work or the text itself, as we can see in the case of I. Richards. Practical criticism began in 1920s with the experiments of the I. Richards, and in his work he focused upon the word on the page itself, as we have already discussed. And along with I. Richards, as we can see that with his practical criticism, how the new criticism came to the existence. William Absence also gave the 7 types of ambiguity, and at the same time tradition and the individual talent in 1970 by T.S. Eliot, along with the Hamlet and his problems in 1919. All 3 works gave the pioneering task to the new criticism, whereas John Crow Ransom only in 1941 gave the name called new criticism to that way of thinking. Now, literature and psychology, he has taken it one step ahead than the ordinary people, that he talks about that it gives the human mind the balance in giving the kind of particular rearrangement of the words. According to the Richards, that if words are given the freedom, and if they are well balanced in the case of literary work, they will be useful in giving the righteous way to understand in the case of readers. Last but not the least, now according to the Richards, it is organized response of the literature which gives the reader a kind of balanced state of minds. In his case, it is not catharsis of Aristotle, that purgation comes from the emotion. According to the I. Richards, it is the arrangement of the words. For the first time he said that if you arrange certain words in particular pattern, then and then you can achieve a kind of catharsis. Now, the impact of art, according to the I. Richards, is basically focused upon a particular way of usage of words. Means words play the significant role even in achieving the catharsis, what we know from the Aristotle's purgation. Means that is not tragic impact, but significantly tragedy